You stopped drinking with any help, or?
What happened on that was that I did have help, but the specific help was a guy called. It's the thing is about when you've got a drink problem. I saw this with myself, and I've seen it with other people that I know, both before and since. Until you, the drinker, until you, the addict, sees that you have a problem, there's no point anybody else telling you, because it just drives you more and more towards it. But what happened with this guy? I got arrested. And I was allowed out on condition I went to hospital. So I went to hospital. It was a weekend, and the psychiatrist didn't come in until the Monday. And he was this little guy called Ernest Benny. When I wrote a novel about a psychiatrist, I dedicated it to him. This was a few years ago. But back in '86, this guy, he sat there, and he was just very, very calm, very gentle. I was away with it at the time. I was sedated, but I'd been through a full-on psychotic breakdown. Voices, music, paranoia, just pretty horrific. And when I was arrested, I'd left all my possessions on the floor. I was in this council building in Hamilton. Left all my possessions on the floor. So the police had taken them away, and then they gave them to the hospital. And so it's weird how this stuff kind of plays out, because you may know I keep a diary, and I need to publish my diaries. And so he said, I noticed in your possessions that there's what looks like a personal diary there. And he said, do you think you could talk me through, if I just spotted a couple of days here, do you think you'd remember where you were and what you were doing, and you could maybe just talk me through a day? And so we did a couple of days, and then we went into another day, and he said, do you think, as you're taking me through this day, you could try to remember how much you were drinking? And so I talked him through this day, and as I was recounting how much I'd been drinking and how much I was thinking about drink and how much I was planning on to drink, and it just dawned, sort of slowly, this penny dropped. So he wasn't saying anything. And I'm just saying, so then I went here, and then I did this, and then I had a bottle there, and then I think I probably popped into the pub, and then I probably had maybe a couple of scotches then. And this particular day ended with me in a pub called the Lord High Admiral. I don't even know if it exists anymore, on the Vauxhall Bridge Road, and phoning Fiona from the phone box in the corner of the pub, having a row because I was pissed and I was, late and like that. Me slamming the phone down saying I'm not coming home, and I booked into a hotel, that big hotel up near Victoria Station, I can't remember what it's called, and I booked in there, and I demolished the minibar. So as I'm getting towards that, the penny is dropping, and I'm thinking, God, I haven't even got to the minibar yet. God, I haven't even got to the evening yet. And that was it. That was. So did I have help? Was it difficult thereafter? Ish. At times it was. But I went 13 years without a drop. I do have a drink occasionally now. I probably shouldn't, but I do. But certainly 1986 is the last time I was drunk. And I got into this thing. It's funny about how when I was growing up in Yorkshire, one of my heroes was Jeff Boycott, the cricketer. And I loved him for being cussed and difficult. But I loved this kind of batting style of just kind of grinding it out. And if a bad ball came along, whack. And if it was a good ball, just, I don't care, play it down. And I used to do this thing where every night when I went to bed, I would say, and there we are, Geoffrey Boycott takes another single off the final ball of the over. He's now up to 3,412. And I think I'd got well past 8, 9, 10 years before I actually stopped counting.
Wow.
I was literally counting every day. And there was a time in my life when I could quickly tell you how many days, how many hours, how many minutes since I had a drink. I can't do it now. It's gone. But one of the biggest turning points in my life was when John Smith died, leader of the Labour Party. I was a journalist. He died, and Tony Blair became leader. And that was, certainly in terms of my professional life, that was probably the biggest turning point.
So you obviously saw something in him, which you said you saw before. What did stand out from the beginning when you met him and when you saw him evolving as a leader?
I think it was what was it? I think it was a shared sense of frustration that the pace of change within the Labour Party just I felt that he coming in new would be able to do more and go faster than John Smith could or wanted to, and I think he had a real zeal and energy to do it. And I think it was also the fact that my big thing has always been I'm utterly obsessed about winning, and I like to think that I'm good at strategy. And he said that, look, I want you to be a press guy, but this isn't the spokesman's job. This is about strategy. This is about helping me do the strategy. So that was the first thing. And the second thing was that I really had a sense that he was going to set big, bold objectives. And I just thought, and it's funny how sometimes you get images come into your mind. I'm a great believer in visualization, and in my latest book on winners, I've got this section with Diego Maradona where I'm talking to him about the importance in football of visualize, what he calls visualize the victory, and what does that mean? And I think that visualization, I think we all do it, and sometimes it's accidental. Sometimes you can't even control what's happening to you. And I found that when I was making my mind up about whether to work for Tony, with all these pressures not to do it, these images kept coming into my mind. Now, one of them, I was still a journalist. It was the day after the election, and John Major was walking back into Downing Street. And I'm a journalist thinking, God, I wonder if I could have done something about that. And then another image that came into mind was Tony Blair's walking to Downing Street, and I'm still a journalist, and I'm thinking, I could have been part of that. And then the third one, Tony Blair's walking into Downing Street, and I'm just behind him. Now, those were really powerful images that were coming into my head. And I went with the third one.